Well, we're back and baking at 350 degrees Celsius. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, all the way over here from Tallinn, Estonia, waking up for a little bit of a later morning, but of course, we got plenty to talk about with the overnight session, finally having a little bit of a move to the downside, as we were discussing late yesterday night. So with that said, I want to be wishing you a very happy and profitable start to your Thirsty Thursday, or whatever Thursday that you like, whatever superlative that you want to have in your life, and let's teleport into the live scene right here, right now, initiated, and let's go. There it is, Bitcoin in all of its glory. Starting off with the daily as always, we do see that Bitcoin has closed the last daily below that red 10-second moving average. So overall, this to me kind of really rounds out that. First and foremost, I would be looking at this as just consolidation. I would not be denoting a major bullish or major bearish case until we either break out above here at above 8,200 on a daily, or below here, below about let's call it like 7150-ish area on a daily as well. We do see that the yellow 21 exponential moving average is aggressively moving up now. It is all the way at 7,100. So I really do like the confluences with this area. I do think that we actually come back down and test around this area at some point in time. To me, this is all just one massive formation that we're working on, that we're likely to spend some time on. So let me actually bring up our oscillators here, and I want to speak specifically to the historical volatility percentile for a second here. And this is what makes me believe that we're likely to more than anything just go sideways within the range. And of course, this range is massive. Don't get me wrong. It's about $1,000 range between about what, 7,150 and about 8,200-ish area. A little bit more than that, I suppose. But overall, I don't expect like a big breakout to the upside or a big breakdown to the downside for a little bit, just because the historical volatility percentile is getting pretty fucking heavy right now. And when it gets pretty heavy like that, it's actually suggesting that the most likely thing to do is consolidate until it cools off a little bit. But this is a daily. Of course, on the daily, it's going to be showing something like this because we've been, rallying straight to the fucking moon for the last few months. If we go down to the lower time frames, it should denote that overall, still just out of consolidation. We do see the historical volatility percentile get extremely low, which does tell me that in the lower time frames we can expect a bigger move. So that can obviously have lead on into the higher time frames, but with the lower time frames we're talking about smaller ranges, right? So the ranges that be over here are probably best to denote on the lower time frames, which we'll start off with today. And taking everything off and just using the force right here, we actually have had our first stab back down into this blue box territory right around the 75 to 7600-ish level. We do see a couple of wicks coming in this area right here, and actually that those nice rising wicks. So overall, while Bitcoin did kind of take a leg down, I do think that it picks itself up a little bit here, maybe gives another test up to this horizontal that we broke down from right around 7,800. And if that area gets rejected, then I would be looking for a move further down to meet up with this trend line right here, this rising trend line that we set in ever since May 12th. So a little bit of history behind this one is it's about 2 weeks old. It's got some history with it, and we do see it line up with this Cyan 89 exponential moving average as well on the 4-hour daily time frame. So this is my point, is that lower time frames show that, hey, yes, there are some moves to be made. There is some opportunity here, but overall, we have not seen a major break out of the greater range. Very, very clearly, the greater range once again being anywhere above about 8,250 or below. More conservatively speaking, about 6,950 to the downside right over here. Whichever one of those breaks, that's going to be our next big direction. If we break to the upside, I'm looking for a move all the way up here towards what's it called? Where's my measure move? Yeah, all the way up here, kind of lining up with this horizontal from about 9600. If we break to the downside, I'm looking for a move into the lower 6,000s. 64 to 6,300 becomes an extremely likely possibility if and when that does happen. But right now, we're literally right in the middle of this range. So I just really want to spend some time, kind of fading what I think a lot of people's expectations are, that this market always is moving. I mean, more often than not, we're consolidating and going sideways, and there's not like a big breakout play to be made. This one, very obviously right in the smack dab in the middle of this range, which is a complete no trade zone for me. And unless you bought the bottom of this wick in the blue box territory, I did not. I was just waking up during that time. And again, full disclosure, I'm pretty much flat on all my positions, just holding the same positions that I've been showing for a long time. You know exactly what I'm doing. I'm happy to be a buyer down around here. I'm happy to be a seller right around here. But right in the middle of this range, fuck no. And actually, I'll be opening up a new scalp account on a new exchange called Bybit a little bit later today, just because I'm sick and tired of BitMexico's. It makes me scared. I've been recording these scalp videos on BitMexico, and it makes me shudder for my life when you can't get in and out of positions because there's system overload. So I'm going to be doing those videos now from now on Bybit. I've transferred my account over from BitMexico already. So, I just wanted to talk about that because I feel bad that if I show those scalp videos on some like BitMexico and I'm not really and I don't really like trading there, and I feel like it's quite dangerous, it could have some nasty implications with people, especially if you get caught even when I'm in a good position and it starts doing that, I'm like, fucking hell, man, what happened? What happens here? Like, what if this feels like a fucking bucket shot? That's what it feels like. Anyways, enough autistic rage from my end. Let's bring up our odds setters. We do see 4-hour Stoke still headed down, getting into the bearish control zone for the first time in a very long time, and we do see 4-hour RSI getting in the bearish control zone as well. But overall, just telling us the greater schema is that of consolidation. We did see a decently good sell signal on, I believe it was the 12-hour jewel. Yeah, it was right over here. We spoke about this last night during yesterday night's stream. So this was also, an actionable signal. Obviously, getting follow through on that as well. Testing down in the 21 exponential moving average, and I do think that we probably get a wick down and test in this region right here, which is actually about 73.50. So 73.50, give or take a few bucks, is kind of where I'm looking towards. Would be looking for a bounce there. And at that point in time, well, then the games begin once again because we'll have tested both the resistance and then the support. And usually have to go and test one, you go test the other. And of course, looking at the volume signature of this, still just that of consolidation to me. So I don't really, I don't really have a strong opinion on which, on an actual breakout direction, just because everyone's trying to call the direction right now. And that's all well and good. And it sounds great on the social medias to be able to say, I called it, I knew it, but at this point in time, man, this is dead money right in the middle of this range here, unless you're playing scalps. So to me, as a trader, opportunity cost needs to be accounted for. And right now, when I'm mainly focusing on the higher time frames, I have no real interest in this region right here. So with that said, going back down into the 4-hour total time frame, what we can say is that we are finding a little bit of buy support in this blue box territory, the same blue box that we've had open since for like the last couple of weeks, really. But first and foremost, do I think that we get a move back up to test this resistance right here? I mean, when you get a lot of wicks like this, yeah, it's pretty likely. I would only change my mind for more immediate upside if we break above this area, right around 7,800. If we break above 7,800, then yes, I do think that Bitcoin gets another try back into the 8050, 8100-ish region. But for right now, pressure is a little bit onto the downside, and a rejection right at 7,800 would imply that we do come back down all the way and test this rising trend line, which would be coming in somewhere around the 73.50-ish region. Once again, give or take a few bucks. It's not going to be exact. I'm going to actually adjust these blue box overs just because, time's moving forwards, man. Time's moving forward, and that's probably a song somewhere in the annals of history. Great word. There we go. Let me just actually extend this out and just come in all the way back from here, really, is what we're getting this from. So if I am a scalper, that's how I'm thinking right now, but I'm not really looking to scalp this right now. I'm looking for the next big play, which I do believe is going to be occurring probably somewhere around this region right here. I do identify this as a symmetrical triangle. The volume signature is confirming that, and also the shape of this formation also confirming that as well. And typically when these formations get about 69 to 75% full, they do become extremely likely to break. And right now we're not necessarily just there. The apex would be coming in all the way over here, right around beginning of June. So I'd say right around May 25th, which is in just a couple of days, we become extremely likely to break. So that's my that's my initial look on it. And actually, let's just get this right. And of course, you can make a measure move on this. It goes both ways. It's the good old social justice warrior pattern, which equal opportunity both up and down. If we break to the downside, oh my God, look at the beautiful confluences with that, pointing us all the way down to 6,300. So again, this would be initiated, technically speaking, if we actually break below 73.50. I would be more conservative, and I will be more conservative with that. I will take a starter position if we break this area, but I will take a full position if we actually break back down below 6,900, 6,950. So I think the upside, I'd be comfortable with taking a position with any sort of 4-hour total close above 8250-ish area. That looks fine to me. So for right now, Bitcoin just right in the middle of this range, and I think just frustrating a lot of people who think that this thing is just going to move at all hours of the day. Nope, we've been moving for all hours of the day for the past few months. It's time to go into a little bit of consolidation, which is is quite normal, quite natural, and all is well good in my opinion. So, again, if we break to the downside, looking for a move towards 63, break to the upside, looking for a move towards 95, 96. This should line up with the Fibonacci retracement as well, which actually already looks like I already have it in here. Let's pull this one out. When in doubt, pull it out. Let's actually take this fib from our current low to our current high of this rally, and look at that. We would have great confluences with the 382 if we did take the downside route. So again, that's only initiated if we break this area right here. For now, I would be agnostic. It has equal opportunity to break to the upside as a downside. Like I said, and typically speaking, I see these things break in the former direction of the former trend. So that actually imply more upside. So like I said, agnosticism right now is very important. As far as moving averages go, still a bullish setup, actually gaining more momentum away from each other, although the red 10 simple now going to be resistance. So if Bitcoin does tick back up to 7,800, I would be looking for resistance there. I would be looking for, probably a decent scalp short on the first pass. I don't believe that we're going to be going above 7,800 today. If anything, at the soonest, maybe tomorrow. But for right now, if we came back up today, I'd probably be, if I was scalping, I'd probably be a seller there. Maybe I'll do a scalp video later if we do get right around there, and then target probably back down around this region as Bitcoin seems to be getting a little bit comfortable in here. We do see daily Stokes headed down still, but they are weakened down. So this does offer up opportunity for the bulls. We are still in the bullish control zone, and we will be in the bullish control zone as long as we remain above that 73.50 pivot. So again, there are some more higher time frame type things to be aware of. We do see daily RSI not giving us anything, just overall consolidation on the higher time frames, which is exactly what it should say. Daily Joule is going to be interesting, however, because at some point in time, probably in the next week and a half, we likely will set up for a perfect sell signal. But this is very, I'm talking about shit that's potentially like way far in advance, so it's not really too appropriate on my own end. Let's go over here to the 2-day. We did get a new tick on the 2-day dildo time frame, and no, we have not gotten the golden cross just yet. It will be coming, barring any sort of a move down to that low 6,000 region, which we just spoke about, which is certainly very possible. It will be averted, but as long as we stay above that area, I do believe that we'll get it likely on the next tick, and that's a big deal to me. Again, just because going through the past prior history, we do see the last time Bitcoin got a 2-day dildo golden cross was actually right over here at about tree 50, the good old tree 50s, bringing us all the way up to $20,000 price for Bitcoin, and then getting death cross somewhere over here at around 7,200. So to me, that would be a big deal. And just kind of set the general, the general trend for, the higher time frames. Of course, does that mean that we can't have a move back down and test lower? Of course we can. We could still remain quite bullish as long as Bitcoin's above 73 to 7,400. I would be, I would be essentially saying that there's no real reason to be like ultimately bearish, looking for a move back down to prior lows or even a new lows or anything like that. And it would be the more appropriate thing to be just generally bullish as long as we are above this 54 to, let's call it 54 to 5,500 pivot, which is where all these moving averages are kind of converging on each other. You see this across all time frames. Here's a daily right around here, the blue 377. 2-day we just looked at, we got the golden cross right in that range. 3-day we got basically the same sort of setup. Weekly we have the cyan 89, the green 55, which just actually had a bullish cross, and the red 10 simple and the yellow 21, which are working their way up as well. So looking at this, I do, I still do give the nod to the bulls. Actually, if I had to pick a side right now, putting on the Trollinger Band, so you do see that we're still just testing the top side of the Trollinger Band right here, which is completely fine. I mean, as far as Trollinger Bands go on the weekly, this is a bullish setup. I mean, as long as we're closing weekly dildos above the top Trollinger Band, which remember, weekly is closed on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Well, I don't really have any reason to, this would still not be considered broken. It's not until we actually close below the top Trollinger Band. You get these moves, you get these signatures when trends are very strong, like you had right over here, trending outside the top Trollinger Bands and trending to the downside right over here. And right now we're still maintaining it. So overall, I still would be respectful of that. And it's not really until we actually close the weekly below that top Trollinger Band, which is coming in around 75.30, where I'd say it's appropriate to be looking for a more sizable pullback from this perspective. So it's just aligning with our other time frames, saying, hey, before you get too bearish, consider this. There are a lot, we can even get a wick down into this region. That's completely fine, just like we got last week. But as long as we close above it, does imply continuation is more likely than not continuation. Weekly Stokes still up there. Will be crossing down at the end of this week if we fail to get basically, if we fail to close anywhere below about 8,000, I'd imagine. Weekly RSI, yeah, looking a little bit weaker as well. But I don't really have too much to say about it other than that. It would suggest that, if this does want to turn down, we go into a period of consolidation lower with, again, I'd feel comfortable with the target ultimately down towards the low 6,000s, upper 5,000s most likely. Going over here to CMEs, see what they're doing. Keep in mind that CME was looking droopy yesterday. This is what was also kind of making me a little bit more on the bearish side yesterday. Again, I don't like to be direct in the way that I say things sometimes because it can imply the wrong sort of mentality. But golden cross right over here above all major moving averages. However, this sort of curl over in the more immediate price action is bearish in nature. Bearish in nature, like eating salmons and shit. We do see daily stows coming down as well, getting back below the critical zone. That's usually the signal line for me, and obviously still a gap to be filled somewhere right around the 7,200-ish region. So at some point in time, this will become a player, and that's going to be my next. That's going to be my tentatively my next play. If we do come back down to this region, I will essentially close this short that is covering up my long coins, and I'll go and I'll basically be exposed long to the upside once again. But for right now, I don't have any intention on playing, in the middle of this region, especially when I'm, focusing on more higher time frames, especially on this Druid account. Like I said, for my scalp accounts, you can certainly play them. There is opportunity here, absolutely, especially in some like Mr. Buterol that moves quite aggressively, although liquidity is certainly an issue. Looking at this, that would be my next big play right over there. And very obviously from the CME perspective, any move above, from the CME perspective, if we even just tick above 8,400, which this one does have a premium on it, to be clear, we have about a $50 premium on it. I'd be bullish for a move up to that next like 95, 9,600-ish level. But right now, this is just consolidation is what it looks like to me, with a couple obvious plays in mind. Looking at the hourly, do we get anything new off this? Not really. But overall, just want to keep everything kind of in mind. Let's go check out GBDC. How's he doing? Yeah, a little bit of a down day yesterday. Not too crazy though, but I'd imagine that we do, you see the same gap right over here. It's very likely that we do come back down and fill this area. But like I said, I don't like short just blindly saying we have to come fill it. It must be filled, because gaps are becoming a fucking meme in this market with, I don't know where everyone's getting these ideas of how they operate, but I used to actually be a professional trader on the floor of New York Stock Exchange ARCA. I'm very familiar with gaps, and I'm very familiar with how they work. And you get them all the time in traditional markets because you have open and closes every day. So it's quite an often occurrence. If you're having to go down to a very low time frame and say, "Oh my God, I think we have a $20 gap right here. It must be filled." It's like, shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but it's just like people have gotten these very weird and bizarre ideas with how these things operate. The play to make is when you actually come back and fill it, not anywhere before that. You don't just blindly say, it's time to short it. It's like, okay, good luck with that, man. You're asking for a massive multicolored dildo in your bunghole and out your mouth hole like a goddamn shish kebab. You are fact, FACKED. Going over here to the daily on GBDC, again, a little bit droopy here. Probably does come back down and fill the gap, but that's the next play that I'm really looking for. Weekly, I do want to remind myself that the weekly on both GBDC and CME closed very very bad, actually. Both of them, kind of reversal-ish type dildos, and we have failed to take out the high of them thus far. So that tells me that this is, not as strong as it looks. Now here's the thing. Look at spot charts. This is Bitstamp here. We actually had an extremely good close on spot charts for the weekly. So there's divergence between these three names. Well, two names basically. Two different markets. We got the spot markets, then we got the traditional markets, and then the OTC bullshit GBDC fucks. Just kidding. But what the fuck you trading GBDC for? God damn, man. I don't understand the OTC bullshit, man. It's like trading pink slips. Especially when Bitcoin's going to get like an ETF or backed pretty soon. It seems like unnecessary risk to me. Anyways, okay. So let's get back into it right now. Did I talk about everything that I want to say here? Not necessarily just yet. Longs and shorts, we do see longs coming down quite a bit. They were all the way up at like 25,000 yesterday. Now coming down to 23.5 versus about the same amount of shorts, around 18,500 open shorts. About 1,000 of these guys hedged, so 17.7 open naked. And let's just go look at the charts for these guys. So longs letting go their positions, a little bit of distribution going on, which kind of would line up with the charts, but losing about, a thousand or 2,000 longs over the last like day and a half, it looks like. But overall, nothing too crazy. It's overall the longs data is relatively low. So the shorts are even lower than that. I should say this though, the shorts getting into this blue box territory has sparked some very nasty dumps in the past. This was your dump from 12,000 in February in 2018, dump from 10,000 in May, dump from 8,400 in August, dump from 73 in September, dump from 6,000 in November, and then the last two times that we got in this region, actually no real reaction, but it always does make you think. It always makes you hold your breath. So I do want to show some things that are a little bit more on the bearish side. So again, we can talk about all the mental masturbation that I can think of, or that you can think of, but until we actually break this area right here, I'm not interested in taking a trade like that. Although I really do like the confluences with the measure move on this breakdown to this trend line that we kind of broke out of on the more aggressive early May breakout. And also like the confluences with the upside one as well. That's, if we do reach towards this next area, I would be looking for a move towards 95, 9,600. Now let's talk about the 3-day jewel. I've been following up with this a lot recently, and I do want to say a few things here just because there's been a lot of questions on this. 3-day jewel is going to be negatively sloped right now. So what does that mean? What does that imply? Well, it does imply that, we basically, probably do come back down and fill the gap and test this area once again. We also do see 3-day Stokes headed down as well. But do I expect a 30 to 40% downtrend move based off this? No, actually no. Even if we do get follow through from this, because when we get those 30 to 40% downtrend moves, we see the light blue get really deep into this zone. Really deep, meaning like 88 to 90-ish area. That's when those very, 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 very nasty red dildo parties start beginning. Over here, we only got into like an 83, which is quite shallow and probably lines up with somewhere between like a 10 and 15% pullback, of which if we were to have something like that, what would that imply? Well, getting the signal probably somewhere right over here, it looks like. Yeah, a 10% move would put us where? Right around the gap, man. Right around the fucking gap. Right around 7,200 we'll call it, which remember is gap right over here, 7,200 essentially. So I need to take a sip of this water, man. I'm damn thirsty right now. So just 1 second. I apologize. I won't excuse myself. And I'm recording, so that's good. All right. Phone blowing up at all hours of the day. Jesus Christ, leave me alone. just trying to live my life, man. Just trying to live my life. So yeah. Okay. Did we speak about? Okay, we spoke about that. What else do we want to speak about? Let's put on the volume profile for a second. I do want to see if these targets match up with anything else. Let's take everything else off, get naked on these. So yeah, we do see the point of control coming in right around here, right around 6,400. So that would actually align with the downside target, also the 382 Fibonacci retracement, also this trend line, also the measure move off this formation. So if we do break this to the downside, extremely likely that we do work our way down here, yes. And with potential to get lower as well. I do think that is potential to get all the way down to about 58, maybe in the 618 down around here. But first and foremost, would be looking for a big bounce in this region. We've kind of already had a pretty nasty wick down in this region, as you can see, looking at this from last week, the week prior. So, to me, if we were to come back down there twice that same region, I would think that we get a bounce, but I would actually think that that would imply that we probably do go a little bit lower. But first and foremost, we'd be looking for a sizable bounce there, probably back up to the high 6,000s, and then we'll kind of figure it out. So again, these are more long-term ideas. It's not happening like this second or the next second or today or tomorrow or anything like that. We're talking about a daily's worth of price action, right? Okay, all right. So what else do we want to talk about? Did we talk about the 2-day yet? Yeah, 2 days kind of curling down as well, as you can see. At 2-day Stokes coming back down to the edge of the critical zone, which actually is going to be meeting up with this trend line here, right? So actually would be looking for a little bit of support in this region, but we still have a little bit more to go, as you can see. And like I said before, golden cross along the way. So we're at a crossroads here. The stakes are high. The next move, whether it's the upside or the downside, is a $1,500 move. move, or well, I guess $1,000 move, give or take a few bucks to the upside, a little bit more edge on that. And from the 2-day perspective, it actually looks, if we take out 7,500 to the downside, this will be confirmed as another local top. So we'll have local top, and I'd consider this bearish divergence, although it not really operating like it, to be honest with you. And that would imply that we do have a test down where to the 21 exponential. And where is that? Oh, fuck! 64. So there you go. Another confluence with that area. Just wanted to show that. So again, while I just don't think it's worth using account equity to be putting on positions in this range right here when the obvious trade is going to be coming in relatively soon. Just pulling this in over here. There we go. Yeah, and you can see the volume profile, being very suggestive here. If we do lose this area right around 73, likely a nice big way down. We ripped through on the way up. We will rip through on the way down. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. We spoke about that. Let's go check out the other top shitcoins, Mr. Buterol. Let's see if there's any sort of insights in him. Mr. Buterol was looking more bullish as of yesterday, right? That was kind of my big marker yesterday. But here's the thing: we took out the low of the day prior, and that was my trigger for saying, hey, we're going to be coming likely a lot lower towards. I think I had a target right on the 377, which was about 239. We actually overshot that by quite a bit, all the way down to 233. So this looks a lot less healthy right now. Yes, we do have the golden cross going on. I do like that. But the way that this is operating right now really needs to maintain above this blue 377 exponential moving average. Otherwise, very likely that we do see low 220. Looking at the weekly. Weekly is coming just back down to support. So I'm not bearish off looking at this. As long as the weekly closes above 235, what is it, like 234 and a half? I think overall good. Looking at weekly Stokes, we do see them actually wanting to cross down, so that'd be a little bit more of a bearish thing. But we also got a bullish cross of the red 10 simple and the yellow 21. So I do give the nod to the bulls here with potential to have a little bit more of a nasty pullback. Going back to the daily for a second, we do see daily Stokes coming down and gain momentum to the downside. Actually, daily Jewel did give the sell signal at the top. I ignored this one, and shame on me. I shouldn't have ignored this one. And I'm guessing the 12-hour probably had a perfect signal, just like, not a perfect signal, but Bitcoin had a much more perfect signal. So I forget who was calling that out last night, but whoever called it out, good on you, because that was a signal to take. I didn't take it myself. Like I said, I was more interested in sleeping last night. Oh, and by the way, I want to say massive thank you to all the people who reached out to me with solutions for my eyes. It really, really does help, man, because I haven't really done too much research into it. So, when people say, hey, man, you really want to think twice before doing LASIK, like, you want to find some other remedies, because it's pretty intense and things can go wrong. Thank you for reaching out with that, man, because you have scared me away from it, like, for right now. But at some point, you got to get these eyes fixed, man. It's just, you want to be able to see shit, right? Okay. What else do we want to talk about here? Yeah, we do see that the 12-hour 21 exponential is providing the impetus for support. If this area does break, we're likely to come down a lot lower. I'd say 220-ish area would be likely. So keep in mind, the stakes are quite high here. If we close this next 12-hour dildo below 235, currently at 237.66, then yes, I would be looking for a lot more significant downside. But for right now, actually I think it's a little bit less likely. I think that we might get a wick below here, but to actually break this, that's going to take a little bit, especially when we just got a daily doodle golden cross. But hey, like I said, if that area does break, make no mistake, I would be targeting a move towards 220 to 218-ish region. Let's see, what do the lower time frames look like? The 4-hour, not really getting too much off this. 4-hour did give a pretty damn good sell signal right here on the Jewel, getting this drop from about 256.5 down to our current trajectory. So yeah, again, Jewel actually doing some goddamn work, and I haven't been paying attention, man. I haven't been paying attention. People have access to the Jewel. They always send me these charts of the Jewel and say, hey man, is this a good one? I'm like, yeah, it's a good one. And then I don't take them. Then I don't fucking take them. But I've just been busy, like, setting up my new place recently. That's the only reason why, man. Anyways, okay. Spoke enough about that. Let's go check out Mrs. Litecoin. How's this beautiful bitch doing? Mrs. Litecoin looking a little bit droopy here. Does look to me like it wants to come down to 83. Daily is on. Oh wow, daily did come back down to our area. We spoke about this last night, that it was likely to come back down to about 85.5. We did come back down to 85.5. Now the game begins. If we see this area break on a daily, I will get a little bit more bearish on this one. I mean, bearish is the wrong word. It's not like I'm looking for a straight up downtrend, but I'd be looking for a move back down to this region here, about 77.5. For right now, still okay. Weekly support is around that 77.5 region, actually. So looking at the 4 hour, 4 hour is droopy. 4 hour does look like it wants to kind of come down, but until we actually initiate this move, which to me would be initiated with a 4 hour total close. Actually, if we close anywhere here or lower on this 4 hour, which closes in the next 34 minutes and 14 seconds, then yes, I will be looking for that move down to the next level towards 81.5, and then probably over time we do make our way down towards that 77 and 78 target that we just spoke about. Okay, let's see how the other top shitcoins are holding up right now. Cardano, coming back down. So we spoke about how it's likely to come back down to 1,000 Satoshis. It is currently ticking at 9990. And what do I think now? Do I think that it bounces here? I do think that it probably tries to bounce within this region. I actually don't think that it... I don't think that's going to make new lows from here. I do think that it probably finds support somewhere where it currently is, or maybe slightly lower, right around 970. The weekly sold a pretty damn good close last week. I would give the nod to that, and higher time frames do say that I would be a little bit more on the side of that. Other than that, don't really have too much else to say about it. Maybe go back to a daily for a second. Daily does look pretty nasty, to be fair. Maybe the daily does want to come back down to the lows at 935. Fair enough. Dog of a coin, man. Dog of a chart. Again, please don't take that personally. It's just talking about charts, not about people or persons or anything like that. Just purely about charts. I'm sure that this one's going to be the next big Bitcoin and going to change the world and all that good stuff. I 100% believe you. Daily on Binance Coin. Giving it back a little bit, but here's what I can say about BNB. As long as it maintains above 29.25, I do give the nod to the bulls. If we do lose 29.25, then I would be looking for a more sizable retracement, probably back down to this region or right around $25, $26-ish area. Weekly still looks fine to me, although... Weekly still looks fine to me as it stands right now. We'll have to reassess this when we come back, when we come closer to the weekly close. Zcash coming all the way back down to weekly support. I do think that this is probably actually going to bounce somewhere in this region. Looking at the 4 hour, probably bounce somewhere in this region, if not, right around $67.5. Looking at the daily. Yeah, daily's a little bit more nasty. Maybe I am wrong on this one. Maybe it comes all the way down to 65.5. You know what? I might have to readjust that. Maybe it does come down to 65.5. This is not looking... It's certainly one of the weaker ones of the alts. Tron coin. What's Tron doing? Yeah, this one wants to come back down. I'd say at least to 2.55. Weekly does have nice support there, so I would be looking for a bounce in this region. I do think first and foremost, it's more appropriate to be looking at these as pullbacks and not necessarily trend reversals just yet. Trend reversal conversation comes into contact when we lose 2.5 cents. Then we can talk about trend reversal, and if 2.5 cents is lost, sorry, not even 2.5 cents, but 2.55 cents, likely comes all the way back down to 2.22. The stakes are high right now, man. Neocash, very similar, very, very similar. Getting rejected by the 200 exponential too many times and down. Really don't want to see it lose this area right around 1090, which kind of looks likely. Weekly right on support. So, this is not the right time to be getting bearish on it. If we close the weekly below about $10.5, and yes, then I can say, hey, we're probably going to come back down to $8, but for right now, I give it the benefit of the doubt, and I do say that we're more than likely in a bounce territory than a reversal territory. EOS Cash losing it as well. Next support down around here, right around 550. What does the daily look like? Daily, right on daily support right now, but needs to hold this area, man. Needs to hold this area, otherwise problems. Weekly support right around 550. Yeah, so I do feel confident with the 550 call. Ripple me nipples Cash. Oh my God, giving it all the way back. But again, I do think that it is right on the area of support, most likely. Do want to see it bounce here. If we fail to bounce and lose about 35.8, then we're gonna have some problems. Mr. Brad Garlic House not gonna be happy about that one. Jesus Christ, man. The popcorn rally. You get these rallies up, no follow through, and go fuck yourself. Go sell it. all the time, man. It's classic Mr. Ripples. But I do think, again, the appropriate thing here as a trader is to give nod to the former, until told otherwise. So I'd still be kind of running with that. Although if you see Bitcoin turn down into the low 6,000s, this one will come back down to the prior lows at 29.5. Monero, what's Monero doing? One of the stronger ones, and just got the golden cross. So I do think that we get another test back down to the 21 at 79.75, and I would be looking for a bounce there. Again, going to go with the rest of the market though. Weekly still looks fine to me. Still looks fine to me. Again, to be interpreted as a pullback for now. Stellar Cash, same thing, coming back down to weekly support. I do think that it tries to bounce here. 4 hour looks droopy. Probably come, lower time frames probably come down to 11.5 cents, but I would be looking for a bouncer. So lower time frames bearish, higher time frames pullback. We already spoke about Litecoin. Let's talk about traditional markets. Another rejection. I've been really shying away from saying this, but I do feel bearish on traditional markets, although it's a little bit premature to say such things. I felt that way ever since this area right here. This rejection, I think, kind of does speak to the market, but I don't want anyone to take my opinion as fact on this one, because I really don't feel too confident, but this is starting to look a lot more nasty. And what I don't like about this is that Bitcoin does seem to follow this. I know that the correlation coefficient is going to say that they're contra right now, because it lags, right? They don't operate on exactly the same time scale. So of course it's going to tell you that, but let's go over here and actually overlay Bitcoin with it. And we can just see from the past prior history, sometimes Bitcoin moves first and puts in its tops and SPY. Sometimes Bitcoin puts in its lows first right over here and then SPY. So they don't move exactly the same, but they move pretty fucking similar. And if this thing wants to turn down, I do see a lot of similarities between these two. They both put in their lows in 2014, 2015, 3-year rally, put in their parabolic highs within like a month and a half of each other. And then, down, up, sideways, up, down, both putting their lows mid December 2018, and been up ever since. And now, SPY kind of putting its top right here. Bitcoin a few weeks later is going to do the same. I think there's a lot more correlation between these two than not. And again, I know that the correlation coefficient is going to suggest otherwise, but that's because they don't move exactly at the same time, right? So there's going to be a lag between the two. But let's see if it should be turning down. So let's actually put it on. Let's put it back on. I wonder if I put it on from here. It probably should be fine, actually. Yeah. Okay. So coefficient. Where's Ballyport? Shout out to Ballyport. There he is. Alrighty. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's going to apply to Bitstamp. Yeah. You do see that they are getting positively correlated. Actually, once again on the weekly to be clear. And we can just overlay this once again just to. So actually, I'm a little bit wrong. The correlation coefficient is correct on this one. I would agree that it is positively correlated. On the daily, it's probably negatively correlated. Yeah, it is negatively correlated on the daily, which you would imagine is true, right? Because they are moving a little bit away from each other. But the weekly, which I think that this is more pro to be looking on, especially when we're looking at, years of price action, still up there, man. Still pretty up there, about a 0.6. So above the median for that. Anyways, take this off. Man, using all of Bali's indicators now. Beautiful ones too. Fucking beautiful ones. Very, very unique. All right. Anyways, I think that's going to wrap it up for what I wanted to say. Let's go take a look at the crypto fear and greed index. We're at a 65 right now. I'm going to guess that that's going to go a little bit further down. I would be looking for support on this oscillator somewhere down around the 40 marker, which, from a historical standpoint, which would likely line up with a move towards 6,300 as we just spoke about. But just kind of wrap this up once again, I would say that Bitcoin gearing up for a pretty major move in the next couple of days, I'd imagine. Confirmation of the downside, technically below 37, let's call it 7,300. Although I do think that, looking at the CME gap at 72, I'd be hard pressed to not think that there's going to be a bounce there. So, I wouldn't be, I'd say full on confirmation below about 69.50. To the upside, still same area, 82.50 on a higher time frame close. Until then, game of support and resistance right here. Does look like we're trying to put in a little bit of a local low here. A little bit of bullish divergence on the hourly. So yeah, do we get another test back up and test towards 7,800? Probably likely. That's our next big resistance though. If that area gets rejected, then I would be looking for ultimately to come back down and test like 7,350, this rising trend line here, maybe even a little bit lower than that. And if we do take out 7,800 to the upside, I would be looking for another move back over to 80, 50, 8,100-ish area. But for right now, You just got the move below this area right here, 7,800. We already got the move down to 75 as we spoke about yesterday. Now's the time to just kind of sit back and relax for a second as the move already kind of populated. Anyways, with that said, I want to leave you off with that. I'll be back on later with some more live stream action. Look forward to seeing you there. If not, well, I want to wish you a happy rest of your Thirsty Thursday. Take care.